Welcome to the Gay Buddhist Forum, where teachers from all schools of Buddhism offer their perspectives on the Dharma and its application in modern times, especially for LGBTQI audiences. These talks are offered freely to the world and made possible by appreciative listeners. If you would like to support our efforts to share the Dharma with underserved audiences, please visit gaybuddhist.org. There you can donate, find a list of upcoming speakers, or enjoy many hundreds of these recorded talks dating back to 1996.
Okay, before we hear from our guest speaker today, it's our tradition to go around and introduce ourselves. Take a little time or a breath in between so it doesn't go too quickly. And if I may, I'll begin. My name is Roy.
Douglas.
I'm Leonard.
I'm Chanting. My name is Gary.
I'm Mario.
I'm Peter.
Baruch.
Excuse me, I'm Ty.
I'm Rob.
I'm Peter.
Ron.
I am Manuel.
Eric.
I'm Jerry Martin.
I'm Robert. I'm Jesse.
David.
I'm Sam.
Mark.
I'm Clint.
I'm Lee.
I'm Richard Azzolini.
My name is Jim Stewart.
I'm Mark.
Peter.
My name is Tom Bruein.
My name is Ray Daughter.
My name is John.
Rick.
I'm Jack.
I'm Jerry.
Touch one. I'm Jerry Jones.
I'm Balmy.
I'm Daria Martinez.
I'm Jay Davidson.
Max.
I'm Steve.
William.
Morning, I'm Kaleo.
Cass Brayton.
George.
My name is Michael.
I'm Fernando.
Hi, I'm Alzak.
Hi, my name is Jim.
And
I'm Ari.
is that okay? Okay, thank you. Our speaker today is Jennifer Berezan, a singer, songwriter, teacher, and activist who started her journey into meditative trance music and wordless chanting and singing in 1995. In her musical career, she has made 8 albums exploring music as a spiritual practice from cross-cultural, traditional, Buddhist, and contemporary perspectives, which she'll share with us today. She teaches at the California Institute of Integral Studies in the Department of Philosophy and Religion and has been involved in Buddhist practice for many years. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, what a pleasure to be back here with you. Just so great to see that you keep coming and beautiful faces. So thank you for being here and for inviting me back. I didn't do a lot of planning today. I thought I would just I wrote a few things down and sort of feel into what emerges. I think I've talked a little bit about my own life and journey when I've been here before, but I'll just say a couple things, and then I'm going to weave the words with quite a lot of chanting and singing with you today. How does that sound? Okay, great. So I was raised sort of good Catholic girl, I guess, in the prairies of Canada, and I was raised at a time in Catholicism that was called was post-Vatican II, which was kind of a little more progressive than what had come before, let's say. And so I wasn't given kind of the real extreme theologies around many things, including sexuality. But there was a lot that was unspoken, that and a lot of messages I got nonetheless. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but my journey ended up bringing me down to California eventually. And in my 20s, I had done a degree in comparative religion in Canada, and then moved here with a kind of thirst for art and music and gay community and politics and it's kind of a new spirituality and many different things that many people, I think, came out to California for in those times. It was in the early 80s. It was a very interesting time. But like many people, I found think back to your 20s, my 20s were wonderful and full of chaos. And a lot was going on, and I was in a community that was very exciting, but also quite kind of interpersonally chaotic, I would say. And so I eventually came to the Dharma initially. Well, I studied it in university. I studied Buddhism in university, but I never practiced the Dharma. We learned about the noble truths and we learned all of it. So we thought we sort of understood Buddhism. But I had to encounter a really challenging time in my life in order to seek out mindfulness practice, meditation practice, which, they talk about the different doors, the different gates into the Dharma, and distress is one of them. And we might be able to relate to that. And so it's often, when you look in retrospect, a lot of people see it as kind of the time that the suffering was a great gift because it opened this path of wisdom and incredible teaching and insight that might have not come. So I honor that time in my life, and it's what led me into the beginnings of practicing since the mid 80s. And because I was a musician, I was always sort of on the lookout also for what was happening within the communities of that I was part of, which is Vipassana and Zen, and I'd gone to Plum Village and sat with Thich Nhat Hanh and many Pema Chodron retreats, and then some Tibetan practice, and always looking for the musical piece to see if it was there, which it is in some ways, in all traditions. And I traveled a lot to Asia and Korea and Thailand and Vietnam, and definitely there's chant in all Dharma traditions. And it manifests in different ways according to the cultural context that it finds itself in. And then when it comes over here, we get a certain version of it as well. But certainly in all meditation traditions, chant has been highly valued as a practice. And so I wanted to just start today with doing a really simple chant with you. And it's really it's a way of being present, just like sitting meditation is. And it's a very energetic practice, because when you're sitting, you're being present, you're holding your experience. And when you're chanting, you're actually kind of, applying vibration to the body, really, as you're sitting. And we could go on, I could talk forever, this is what I do in my class at CIIS about the ancient teachings about chant and the new science, the brain science, about the effects of things like chanting and drumming on the brain. And there's clear evidence that it has extraordinary effects on us, just as we have evidence now that meditation does, of course. So we'll just do this first chant, just maybe for 5 or 10 minutes, and you can just start to notice how it affects you. But these chants, this is a Tibetan chant, and often the chants that come from the Buddhist tradition are kind of calming, centering practices that help quiet the mind. And we all know, the mind is really kind of an interesting thing. There's nothing to do about it. We all have it. And it just throws up so many thoughts all the time that are useless. And sometimes a lot, and often very unhelpful, as we know. And it runs us around, and I know this about myself. If I actually made a list of the things I believed and have believed, that I acted on and that sent me spiraling, and then really, took time and watched how my life unfolded. So, as we know, so many of those thoughts are not true. And yet we somehow keep believing that they are. And so these practices can help settle the mind so that the spacious kind of awareness emerges in us, and that is the place that we can contact insight and wisdom and really know ourselves from. And that's where a lot of people, that's where there's great relief. A lot of us get great relief in that space. That's why we do it. So that's really the goal of the chants. And it doesn't mean that outcome, of course, is going to happen immediately, but it can impact us on many levels. So we'll just chant it and enjoy yourself. It's not, you don't have to get too tight, or just relax and enjoy, and especially relax. We're so type A, and we've gotten our culture is speeding so fast that sometimes our spiritual practices just become one more thing that we have to do and check off the list, right? And so to really just give ourselves this moment of, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to be anything. I don't have to fix anything. I don't have to change anything. And I can just enjoy this chant in this moment. So the sounds that we're going to chant are the sacred sounds Om, Ah, Hum. And they say the Om opens the vision center, the Ah, the throat, and the Hum, the heart. And you can sing it wherever in your range is comfortable. So I woke up on Valentine's Day a couple weeks ago, and Valentine's Day is a kind of strange holiday. Some of us love it, some of us hate it, some of us just want it to go away or just neutral. And I found myself sending a quote to all my friends, and the quote is. Many of them were surprised to hear that the quote is attributed to the Buddha. And it goes like this: "You can search the whole world over and never find anyone more worthy of love than yourself." You can search the whole world over and never find anyone more worthy of love than yourself. And Buddha, of course, predates Hallmark, so this was like, we've heard it a million times, but when you think about it, it's source, because so often I think here we are doing our practice and trying to improve ourselves, and I love that quote because it's really one of the most profound and deepest teachings in the Dharma. And I was thinking about it because I was thinking about just the story I was telling about my journey from where I come from, and the kind of, I think the kind of theology and in some ways psychology and point of view that many of us are raised with in our culture and in many cultures, that says that there's something wrong with us and we have to fix it. And it's deeply ingrained in Christianity, in Christian theology, because the teaching of original sin is very central to much of Christian thought. That is why you need redemption. Everyone needs redemption the minute even you're born. You need redemption from the state of not being in a state of perfection, or sort of being in a state that is that needs to be corrected somehow. And I just think that we all have that going on, most of us. I mean, if you don't, wonderful, bow to you. But most of us have a voice inside, and I know it in myself no matter, how many years go by. And, the work of Stephen Levine, if you know him, wonderful, does so much wonderful work around this, about this voice that sort of, it's unrelenting and has many crafty ways of convincing us that there's something flawed about us. Many of us who are gay and grow up raised in a certain time period, of course, that message was just like huge and direct and violent. Some of us were luckier maybe to not have that as intense. But the more that I'm working in circles and teaching and stuff, the more I see that this is one of the things that we have to really, I think, work with. And sometimes in mindfulness and meditation practice, we come to it as another thing where we have to kind of make ourselves better or fix ourselves. And it just, it starts from that starting place. And the wonderful thing really about, at least from what I've studied and what I've heard many teachers say, there isn't this idea in Buddhism or in the Dharma that there's something flawed about us that we need to fix. The teaching is actually the opposite. The teaching is that our true natures are absolutely sublime and perfect. And the issue really is that we've just forgotten who we are. It's just a problem of forgetting. Or they'll say ignorance, right? Which really means we're not seeing it clearly. We don't see it clearly. So instead we've layered on all this conditioning and habits of the mind and things we've been told, the voices of other people and the culture and our own voices. And we believe this about ourselves. And we have piles of evidence, of course. We can show it, we have the things we can say we've done wrong. Which of course we do. We're humans and we make mistakes, but we use that against ourselves to convince ourselves that something really is kind of profoundly wrong with us. So I really love the Dharma because it's so kind of optimistic. Even though sometimes Buddhism's accused of being kind of a dour religion. It's such a focus on suffering. But this other teaching really says that we are, they use often this image of we are this beautiful bright sky with a clear sun. All of us. This is the nature of what it means to be human. This is the nature. You can't change that. Nothing you do can change that fact, that nature. And the clouds that come and go across and kind of obscure that can be worked with. And even the ones that have set in over decades and decades of watering seeds of negative actions and thoughts, and it can be, those things can slowly dissolve. And one of the ways that is taught, of course, is, the different traditions have different ways to do that. But in mindfulness sitting practice, it's taught that, when you stop and slow down and sit in the silence, you start to learn that you stop identifying with those voices and emotional states and all the things that we think we are. And you start to get that little bit of separation from it where you go, wow, well, if that's not me, who am I then? If I'm not all of that. And you start to find moments that you actually rest in that, what a lot of people will call beingness, or just the nature of being, and the great relief that comes from that. So I would like to do a chant with you that's from the Heart Sutra. And the Heart Sutra is this really interesting long story, but the short of it is that it kind of came into Buddhism when Buddhism needed to be renewed. It had got kind of overly complicated. And Prajnaparamita, if you've ever been to Spirit Rock, there's an image of the Buddha in the main temple, and there's an image of a female being named Prajnaparamita, who's considered the mother of all Buddhas. She represents the mind of non-discrimination, the mind of absolute clear seeing and spaciousness that holds everything. And where everything comes from, all wisdom comes from that space. And they say that she is the one who brought forth the Heart Sutra. And if you could sort of refine the Heart Sutra to anything, it's the chant that goes, Gate Gate, Paragate, Parasamgate, Bodhisvaha. And that chant I recently heard translated by Soltra Malayana, who's a wonderful Tibetan teacher, Lama. And the way she translates it as, let go some more, now really let go. I loved that because I had heard that, done that chant, and recorded that chant, and I sort of knew the official translations, but that really worked for me. And it was like, what are we letting go of? We're letting go of all of that stuff that stands between us and that spacious mind and knowing who we really, truly are. So thought it'd be nice to do that. And we'll just do it. We won't have any accompaniment. We'll just do it as voices. So the words are Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasamgate, Bodhisvaha. And really it does translate as gone, kind of just letting go. And Svaha is just like a giant Amen, or Ashe, or so may it be. So really just relaxing into this and just taking that just breath of relief that happens when we realize there's nothing else to do. Just allowing ourselves to rest, and with this profound sense of really feeling this sense of deep compassion and mercy for ourselves, deep forgiveness, where that quote that I read spoke about the Buddha says about self-love, where it really can emerge from this space of deep relaxation and quiet and deep letting go, really letting go, because it's in that place that compassion naturally arises. They say that compassion is a state that naturally flowers in us. It's not something you have to manufacture. Deep mercy for ourselves and deep just kindness is also something that naturally arises when we let go. Doesn't have to be pushed and muscled into. It actually can't work that way. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisvaha. Gate,
Gate, gate,
Psalter, we chanted that on the hillside at Spirit Rock under the stars. And we did what she calls sky gazing practice. And then we also did it in the early morning. We did it with our eyes open, just looking out at the trees and the hills and the sky. And try it sometime. And it's wonderful. And you get a group together and just sit outside in nature and benefit from the healing powers of the natural world. And it's and the spaciousness of the sky. It's really meant, I think, to go together. So it's beautiful. Well, I thought I'd do something completely different now. This is something I call my Buddhist blues fusion song. It came out of a number of years ago, just out of pondering and being in that, in the great, terrible, and beautiful mystery of change, of impermanence. And you know how impermanence is, it's just horrible when you don't want something to end, or someone to leave, or someone to die, or, you know, looking around the room. It's surely true for myself. I'm getting a little older. I'm noticing it. You know, all of the ways that life is constantly changing, and when we don't want it to, it's a great source of suffering. And when we want it to, it's so wonderful and merciful. Like when the toothache goes away, right? Or the new door opens, the door. Always the new door as in the spring comes. So this is, it's called the turning of the wheel. It's a bit of a meditation on the inevitability of change. Follow regularly at a gathering that the Dharma teacher James Berezan does. He has a whole series he's been doing for years called Awakening Joy. And it's a whole course, really, on how to live in these times and be present to what's really going on in our own lives and in the world, but not fall into despair and depression, and how to still have an open heart and a heart that's joyful. And to allow joy, and like they say, the Taoists say that life has its 10,000 joys and 10,000 sorrows, and they're all kind of commingle in each of us. And one of the antidotes that he talks about, and that I know in my own life and see it in people around me, one of the antidotes to despair and bitterness, feeling victimized, or just all the ways we can feel as humans when things are painful and frightening. One of the antidotes is gratitude. To really, and gratitude as a practice. So a lot of the people in the course are like, they have what they call gratitude buddies, and every morning they get up and email the things that they feel they're grateful for in that day, even if there's a lot of hard stuff happening, but they turn their minds towards it. And Buddha talked a lot about whatever we incline our minds towards will grow in us. So this piece I'm going to finish with this kind of my hymn of gratitude and love for the world in all of its everything. So I hope you'll join me, because I really wrote it as a prayer to sing in groups. And there's a song and then the chant. Some of you might know it. Then you'll hear it. There's a chorus. Jasmine breeze Will some predict the rapture, where we all will leave this place? The chosen ones will pack their bags for somewhere out in space. But the holiest words I've ever read or thought or sung or prayed were praises for the world. This is your Do we have time for a couple questions or comments?
Just a couple minutes. So.
Hi.
Hey, where do you think music comes from?
Music? Ah.
That's in your dream.
Comes from that first moment of creation, when things began. It's just, I think the seeds of it are there, the creative energies, whatever that is, the movement towards creation in everything, really. I could sort of theorize about where my music personally comes from, but that's a whole other story, and there's not really time for that. But it is, there's so many. Can't imagine, having human culture without music, right? Every culture in the world, every culture. Yes.
That was really beautiful. Thank you so much. Has it been medically proven that the vocal cords are actually connected to the tear ducts?
Absolutely. It's a very good sign in you. Hi.
Is that little instrument a harmonium?
Well, if it had piano keys on it, it'd be called a harmonium. This is called a shruti box. Shruti box.
Shruti box.
Shruti. And anybody can play it. All you have to be able to do is go like that. That's the training. And, you can choose. It's wonderful. You can just choose the notes that you want to use. I'll get this open. I can show you how that works. You just choose the notes. And it's really just like a bellows, in a box, accordion in a box. And it really it's from India, and you can go to Indian import stores, like in Berkeley and University Avenue, and they sell beautiful ones there. And wonderful way to sing and chant to. Yeah.
How to think of?
Well, a really good one, maybe 150, 180, maybe 200 for. Yeah. It used to be 100, but now.
Oh, I just wondered, could you say that quote from the Buddha again? That was really nice.
You can search the whole world over and never find anyone more deserving of love than yourself. Yeah.
Thank you so much for absolutely amazing time that I've had. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you once again, Jennifer. It's our host here today. There you are.
I'm Cass. I'm your host today. Please stay and enjoy the fellowship of the songwriter. There's refreshments, tea and cookies. So if you have some tea, please wash your cup with hot soap or water. There's a sign-up list so that you can stay in touch with the songwriter. And I'll be going around with a Dharma bowl. I'd encourage you to help support the Sangha meetings expenses. I guess $5 to $8 is recommended, but whatever you choose to donate. And some people go to lunch after the social hour. They meet at the front door at around 12:30.
Any announcements? Jerry?
Hi, Jennifer, thank you for coming. You're great. Hope you can come back maybe in the fall. If you choose to. You're great. And next week we're going to have Tova Green here. And she is a Zen teacher. And in 2 weeks we're going to have Suvana Collin, who is head of the San Francisco Buddhist Center where we meet. And interesting enough, she's going to talk on Introduction to the Heart Sutra. So if you're interested in more about what we're saying to do today, thanks.
Yes, on Saturday, March 20th, we're having an all-day sitting here in this room, and there are flyers out by the Dharma bowl. Please take one, and there's instructions on how to register, and we'll send registration to. But it's an all-day from about 10 till 4 on Saturday, March 20th.
Out by the old directories, there's a new draft, and if you're interested in looking at that to see that your information is correct, that would be great. I'm trying to make it correct, but the flaw is still with me. Let go. But if you hear that your listing is correct, have a look. Thank you.
I'm coordinating the food for the 20th, so I could use some volunteers. If that's even remotely interesting, please talk to me. The second thing is we received a thank you note from the Zen Center. The Sangha donated $450 towards their prison outreach project. And it's partially because of your generosity every week, but also in our annual drive, we're now over $2,000. So thank you very much. Keep it coming, and you see what good things happen when that does happen. So thank you.
3 weeks from today, the 21st, right after our retreat, there will be a memorial in the afternoon after our normal sitting for our friend Don Mahudin. So details will be coming out on the listserv if you subscribe to the APO group. And in sometime in the near future, we're going to try and get a head count because it'll be catered and the whole bit. It'll be off-site. But details will follow. So look at the list, and we'll have some printed stuff next week.
Jerry.
Jennifer, did you bring any of your CDs?
Yes, I did.
She's got
Thank
some
you.
regular, especially Turning I use for meditation.
Thank you. Yeah, I have CDs, and I'll put out a little list if you want to be notified of things I'm doing locally. I do concerts and various events and things, and have a new album coming out that I'm working on now that is based in the loving kindness prayer, and it's all sung, and so features Jack Cornfield and a number of other beautiful singers. And so if you want to know about it, you can give me your email. I'd love to. And then I only send out for that kind of thing. Thanks, Judy.
Anyone else?
Yahoo group? No, I just have a website, but you can always write me from the website. Yeah.
And I believe Jesse and Sam, can you raise your hands? You're new today, so everybody welcome them during the social hour, if you will. And let's go ahead and stand for a dedication of By the power and truth of this practice, may all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all be free from sorrow and the causes of sorrow. May all never be separated from the sacred happiness which is without sorrow. And may all live in equanimity without too much attachment or too much aversion, and live believing in the equality of all that lives.
Thank you for listening to the Gay Buddhist Forum. If you would like to hear several new talks per month and be notified of upcoming speakers so you can participate live, please subscribe to this podcast, like us on Facebook, and join our mailing list by visiting gaybuddhist.org.